Okay, you ready, Sean?
I am ready.
Okay. 6 o'clock, we have a quorum, we'll call the workshop session in order. Sean?
Mayor and council, tonight we just have an update on the Valley Ridge project. There's no real new information here, but there are some issues that are coming to the forefront, such as the change to Cowan. And so we wanted to give you a briefing before we go out to do any public meetings. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to David Salmon, and he's going to walk you through the project.
Just to start off with, the green line is the alignment, proposed alignment for the segment of Valley Ridge Boulevard that we're getting ready to build. Project's roughly 98–99% designed, and we'll be ready to go out for bids within the next couple of months, and hopefully start construction sometime in the fall. So you can kind of see where it begins at Mill Street, and then circles around past the Keeley, and then down to College, and where Valley Ridge picks up again. Just a little bit of a rehash of some of the project specifics. The original design, or the original estimate of the design, right-of-way, and construction is roughly $10 million. Today, we're looking at a total of about $13.2 million, which includes the design and the right-of-way that's already been purchased. The funding is a 50-50 split with Denton County 444 bond funds and City of Louisville 2003 bond money. The scope of the project, it's basically 4-lane divided arterial. And again, it runs all the way from Mill Street, crosses Keeley, and then turns south and goes down to College Street, roughly 8,300 linear feet, just over 1.5 miles. Some of the major design features that we've had to work through, and Jeff Kelly here has been the project manager on this. We've had a lot of significant right-of-way acquisition on this property. Right now, we've got all the right-of-way parcels with the exception of 2. We've got a major bridge over Prairie Creek. Intersection designs at College, Keeley, and Mill. Modified signal at Mill Street. The crossing over Prairie Creek required a flood study and approval by FEMA, which has been completed. Same thing with wetlands. We had to have a 404 permit from the Corps of Engineers, and that process has been completed and approved. And last but not least, we have a at-grade rail crossing over the DCTA commuter rail line, just immediately to the east of Mill Street. And it's been designed as a quiet zone style crossing. A little bit of history. Valley Ridge Boulevard's been on our thoroughfare plan here in Louisville at least since the mid-'80s, and maybe even a little bit earlier than that. So it's been on our thoroughfare plan for quite a long time. It's really, once it's complete, it's really a regionally significant thoroughfare because it starts all the way on the west city limits in Louisville, and ultimately it'll run all the way east, south, and then back east again and connect into our proposed corporate drive project that's also, we're getting ready to select a consultant on soon. Again, it was funded by Denton County 444 and Louisville 2003 bond program. In April of 2009, the DCTA made a presentation to the City Council during a work session identifying dangerous rail crossings, and at that time, North Cowan crossing was identified as a potential, well, it was identified as a dangerous crossing, and a potential closing at that time, but it didn't occur then. And we did the quiet zone style crossing back then when the rail was being constructed. We went through an interlocal agreement with Denton County, City of Louisville for design and construction, which was approved in September of 2009. We entered into a professional services agreement with Freese and Nichols in April 2010. Design has been moving along. Back in December of 2012, after we had been talking with the DCTA, starting the discussions with regard to the rail crossing, we came to the City Council with a change order to design a changed Collins Street, which basically amounts to building a cul-de-sac north of the KCS railway and removal of the pavement on Cowan just to the north and east of Mill Street. Again, the design is all but complete. We've almost got all the right-of-way acquired, and staff is still in the process of negotiating with the DCTA on the rail crossing. Again, that's just the alignment. This is just a schematic of the change proposed for North Cowan. The pink color is the cul-de-sac, roughly where the cul-de-sac would be north of the KCS rail line. KCS rail line goes over, there's a bridge over Cowan right there. And so the cul-de-sac would be just to the north of that. Green is the area of Cowan Street where pavement would be removed, which includes the existing DCTA rail crossing. You'll see some yellow shown on this drawing. Right now there's a sidewalk that runs down the east side of Cowan, connects to Mill Street, and then down to the intersection of Valley Ridge, and there's a school zone. In order to preserve that pedestrian route, Freese and Nichols has designed a sidewalk that would run in an easement alongside the east right-of-way line of the DCTA commuter rail, connect to a 10-foot hike and bike trail along the north side of Valley Ridge Extension, and then back to the west over to the intersection. So we've taken into account maintaining that pedestrian access. The slide says North Cowan Avenue closure, but it's not really a closure. It's really a change to the way that the street is going to function. We're not abandoning any right-of-way or proposing to. What we're talking about is restricting vehicular access from Mill Street to the north side of the KCS railway overpass. pavement removal, and of course, we would retain the right-of-way for pedestrian, utilities, and drainage purposes. There's several reasons that staff is recommending that this piece of Cowan be changed. The DCTA has a policy that when an entity asks for another rail crossing or a new rail crossing, that another one be closed. And there have been some cases where they've even asked for a 2-to-1 exchange. In this case, we've gotten to the point where we've all at least agreed with the DCTA that we can do a 1-on-1 exchange. We've got this one-on-one exchange to deal with. As it stands right now, staff has not been able to identify any viable alternatives other than making this change to Cowan Street to suffice the DCTA and be able to negotiate a rail crossing agreement for the Valley Ridge extension. If we simply said, no, we're not going to make any changes to Cowan, we want to leave that rail crossing open, then basically the project would be delayed significantly. We'd end up having to go back to the DCTA and pretty much start at square one with negotiations and try to figure out how we were going to get back to where we are now with having a rail crossing agreement. Staff, we're at a point now, like I said, where the design has been almost completed. We have almost all the right-of-way. We've come pretty close to finishing our negotiations with the DCTA. We've spent roughly $2.25 million to date purchasing right-of-way and paying for the design. One of the other reasons, and this was alluded to a little bit earlier, the intersection of North Cowan and Mill Street, as everyone is well aware, is very unusual. It comes in at a skew. It's hard to see, especially back to the north. And it's also very close to the existing signal at Valley Ridge and Mill Street. There have been 13 accidents at that intersection between 2007 and 2013. In doing research with regard to emergency response, and then working with the police department and fire department, staff has determined that if we made this change to North Cowan, the impact on emergency response would be minimal, and we'll get back into that in a little bit more detail on that in the next couple of slides. Early on, staff tried to figure out some ways to maybe not have to make this change to North Cowan. This is just a problematic intersection. You've got the intersection of two different rail lines coming together at an odd angle. And then, of course, you've got the intersection with Cowan and Mill Street, which comes in at an angle. And what we've attempted to show here is really the only way you could have any kind of connection whatsoever without crossing the DCTA rail is to make a hard 90-degree bend around, come under the KCS overpass, make an immediate 90-degree bend, and then another 90-degree bend, and then tie in with the Valley Ridge extension. That would put the Cowan intersection, I'm not sure that it would help a whole lot, because we'd have another intersection. You'd have an intersection at Mill Street, you'd have your rail crossing, and then you'd have another intersection just a couple hundred feet back to the east. The other problem with this is you can't really, this particular alignment, we've blown it up a little bit, would be very difficult. Even if we were going to do it, it'd be very difficult for large vehicles to maneuver, and we can't really cut that corner at all or make it any easier to maneuver because there's an embankment. You know, remember this rail here is elevated quite a ways, and it goes over the top of Cowan. There's an embankment here, and so we have to respect that embankment. And then even with this alignment, you know, if we were to have a normal width for Cowan Street, the edge of the pavement would literally be 9.5 feet off the DCTA rail, which obviously they wouldn't permit anyway. So, long story short, even though we tried to come up with something, there just wasn't anything that was realistic. The Mill-Cowan intersection is something that came into play over a long period of time. At one point, Cowan Avenue was a north and south street that went, you know, all the way through. And then with the construction of Valley Ridge west of Mill Street, you know, it was turned in at a 90-degree angle on the south end. And so today, you know, you really don't have a continuous street from south to north. You basically have to jog around and get on Mill and then get back on Cowan again. The north intersection is skewed. There's a site visibility problem. You've got the whole issue with the intersection being so close to the signal that it's difficult for people to exit on either leg of the intersection. And again, we've got the accident history. And then we've blown up a little bit, just kind of zoomed in a little bit on that geometry. One of the things I wanted to point out on this slide, if you look closely, you can kind of see the dark areas. What happens a lot, people that do come south on Cowan and try to get on Mill, you know, they have to cross the traffic and get into the southbound lane. And a lot of them come all the way over and try to make this right turn on Valley Ridge. So basically, in a very short distance, you've got vehicles that are entering Mill Street and trying to merge all the way over to the opposite side in just a very short distance. And I'm sure that's contributed to the probably the majority of the accidents that have occurred there. Just talking about access issues with regard to North Cowan. We have 289 homes in Village North Mobile Home Park, roughly 23 business properties, and then 16 other homes scattered around the neighborhood up on Crescent and Morningside. With regard to police response, between March and May of this year, there were 87 police calls. About 29 of those did not require any officer response. In addition, we had, with the fire department, they had roughly they had 134 calls between January and May, which included EMS and structure fires. The majority of those were to the mobile home park. Both the police department and fire department have estimated that if we were going to make this change to Cowan and they had to enter Cowan from the north end, from Jones Street, it would add somewhere between 1 minute and 2 minutes to their response time, depending on where it was they were coming from. You can see depending on the fires, depending on which fire station they're responding from, the change in response time, could be 0 all the way up to 2 minutes, depending on which station they're coming from. Some interesting numbers. We have an average daily traffic on Cowan Street right now of just under 6,000 vehicles per day. If you look at how that traffic is distributed, almost 3,700 of those 6,000 vehicles, when they exit Cowan, are going north. And only 2,300 of them are coming back south, which means that you've got a lot of traffic that is, they're entering Cowan from the south end. But I would venture to say that most people that either have a business there, work there, or live up there already realize that the safest way to exit that neighborhood is to go up to Jones Street and either hit the signal at Mill or go back around on Keeley. So this is just a little bit of proof that even the people that use Cowan, realize that coming back south on Cowan is problematic. This just sort of illustrates what the access would look like if we make the change. You'd have to access Cowan either from Keeley and Jones, or else go up to Mill and Jones and then over and down. The cul-de-sac just north of the rail line would be large enough for large vehicles to turn around, trucks, emergency vehicles, any kind of vehicle like that. So at this point, staff is recommending, I guess, considering that we've have so much into this with regard to money and time, and we're so close to having the street ready for bids, that we make this proposed change to North Cowan Street that we've actually been talking about for some time. We would propose to come back to the council on July 7th, actually, with purchase the right-of-way for the cul-de-sac, and then also with an ordinance for the street change. Staff has tentatively scheduled a meeting with the neighborhood to inform them of the change prior to that July 7th meeting. We haven't notified anyone yet because we're hoping to get a little bit of direction tonight before we do that, but we will meet with the, in fact, we'll have a meeting next door in the council chambers on the 26th, or at least we're planning to. We've already started some discussion with LISD to let them know that this change in the street configuration is on the horizon, and of course we'll have to coordinate with the post office. If we move forward with this change to Cowan Street, it's not going to happen automatically. Right now, we'll probably be bidding the project late summer with maybe a construction start in late fall, and just doing a rough construction timing estimate. The actual change in the configuration of Cowan would not occur until later in the project, roughly 12 to 18 months after construction started. So realistically, we have almost 2 years to work with that neighborhood and for people to kind of get used to the idea that that was going to happen. In addition, staff is recommending that when we have our next bond program, that we try to program North Keeley and Jones and widen those and repave those to have a normal curb and gutter section and a normal width to help the access in and out. In addition, our Public Services Department has a program for the 15-16 fiscal year to do resurfacing on Morningside and Crescent, which are those small streets that sort of run between Cowan and circle back around to Jones Street. Again, in an attempt to make the ingress and egress from that neighborhood a little bit easier and safer. With that, I'll entertain any questions you might have, and I guess this evening we're just looking for some direction.
Council, have any questions on it?
I had a question out of pure curiosity because of reading about this like 2 years ago. You have it in there that DCA rail crossing policy is the one-to-one exchange. I thought that was an FRA requirement. It's not?
Well, originally staff thought so as well, and we did research. I mean, we went to the FRA website, we had our transportation consultant, ITS, look into it as well. We couldn't find anything in the FRA regulations.
Okay. So it really is DCTA.
Correct, and then we finally did get some confirmation from the DCTA that it really was just a policy. Unfortunately, it starts right of way, they're leasing it, but we still have to get the crossing agreement, from them, so.
It's just, now I know.
Yeah, no, that's.
Now we both know.
Yeah, no, it took us a while to get to that conclusion, but that's what it is.
Okay.
More than anything, Council, we really wanted you to be aware of the next steps in case you receive any contact, so you know where we are and what the plan is. And that was really the purpose of tonight. What you heard was, as you well know, Valley Ridge is extremely important, and there's really no viable options here to not close Cowan. So at this point, staff is planning to move forward with the project.
Those two right-of-ways that are outstanding, does that include the right-of-way for the cul-de-sac?
Yeah, that's one of them.
My only concern is, I would like for you to make sure that you meet with all the property owners down there prior to, and I mean a week prior to July 7th meeting, not by July 6th, so that they don't have time. Of course, that's a holiday weekend anyway. But, because I remember when we had the problem down there at, when we were doing the DCTA crossings, what's it, street we were looking at?
Parnell.
Parnell, thank you, down there. Oh, we were getting calls, and why are we doing this, no. And so, I'd like to see you by the end of this month, meet with all those people. And one meeting's not gonna do it, because some of them are gonna have other plans or something, so. And I don't mean you're gonna have to meet with every tenant in the mobile home park, I don't mean that. But especially all the businesses, and then the owner of the mobile home park.
So have to meet with them, make it available for them to go.
Correct, yeah.
Right,
But give more than one opportunity. Right. That's my issue.
As we stand right now, we've got all the letters printed and all the door hangers printed, and we were kind of waiting until after this evening was over with. And tomorrow, we'll be mailing out letters to all the property owners explaining what we're proposing to do, explaining about the meeting on the 26th. In addition, we're going to hand deliver door hangers to all the businesses and residents in that North Cowan area, including the mobile home park, so that everyone will have personal contact of some sort with a name and a phone number and somebody they can call if they have questions or can't make the meeting.
Okay. Those on council.
I wanted to make sure we had a meeting tonight before we rolled out anything, so that you guys were briefed and
Right.
prepared.
That's good.
Just move forward.
That's what I think.
Okay.
It's like a
Thank you,
bowl of
David.
spaghetti, I don't think there's a lot of choices.
Right. Okay, move on to the regular agenda. Item 1. Item 2. Item 3.
In the economic development agreement, council, you might have noted that 18 months from the date of approval of the agreement, the development plans have to be submitted, and the demolition has to begin within 6 months of approval of the agreement. That kind of gives you a time frame on that part of this process.
Is there expectation that it's gonna take that full amount of time?
I don't know, you pick the correct answer. Expectation that it would take that long on
No,
demolition?
actually, they have started asbestos removal as of last week, so we anticipate demolition in the next few weeks.
And if something happened and they didn't, then this would go through, right?
It's valid for
Correct.
24 months, that's in the agreement.
Correct, and it's basically they'll have to pay for it, and once completed, we'll reimburse.
Item 4. Item 5.
To the street closures for your new event, Festival Brewfest, as well as approval. We have a policy that requires this council to approve alcohol service on any city-owned property. It is on city-owned property.
Item 6.
Sorry.
Item
7. Did you want to pull that, or did you just leave it on?
No, it's a, speaks for itself, it's a statewide, it's just to remind people that that proposition is gonna be coming up in November on the statewide ballot, and we ask that they look at it real close for transportation.
That's why I didn't know if you wanted to pull it.
No.
Okay.
That's okay.
Okay.
Thanks for putting that on.
Item 8.
This item, the CVS Pharmacy has requested that it be pulled. Julie got that call today, and I believe left you a voicemail.
We don't have to accept that.
No.
It mean that request be pulled?
You don't have to accept it, you can just, I mean,
But my question is, in the past, I know we've done some things, like when they run that, we had to make a motion to just not do anything on the item. If we don't have to do, you're saying we don't have to do anything?
you
say
can
that's
just
right.
take no action.
No action, okay, thanks. Item 9.
You abstain.
Once again, there's no action needed on that, just a reading. Item 10.
On item 10, Julie did contact the DECO 911 manager, and they said that they've had contact with several of the smaller cities, and that they are prepared to submit names for the board. So the process here is, these are the nominations, and then it actually comes back to you later for the vote. And so we actually already do have, it's not, we didn't appoint him, but Terry McGrath in the fire department is on this board. He was appointed by the Fire Chiefs Association. So staff is not recommending at this time that you recommend any Louisville appointments.
Is his term not up? Is that-
His term is not
Okay.
up. This is to fill Harlan Jefferson's
Right.
term.
Item 11. You can see, Mayor Davis had to resign his post as mayor, and we had named him as the alternate. And they're asking that we name his successor, who is now Mayor Charlotte Wilcox, who is Mayor Pro Tem, to that.
It's fine by me.
Good with it?
She's mayor now.
Correct.
Yes.
And item 12, on item 12, appreciate everybody getting out and interviewing the individuals, and appreciate you getting back with Julie with the list. You all have a list there. Appreciate you getting back with her there on your recommendations. You can see there, she's typed those recommendations up. And
I thought you typed it. Tell me you typed it.
Well, I typed it and gave it to
I see it happen.
I want to try that.
verbal type.
And on that, if we could maybe just, instead of each one of us having to do a motion on that, could we do that all in one motion?
Absolutely.
Mayor, I'll do that. I'll do that all as one motion. Unless anybody's got
Yeah, unless
anything
maybe
on the no
change.
appointees page here.
This is the ones that each committee had given to Julie, so we're not, TJ's just not making all these, it's what y'all gave us. She just typed it up very much.
Super.
No questions on that? Okay, reports, council, you got anything? Julie,
No, sir.
Liz, Donna?
Yes, sir. Julie actually, I believe, had sent you an email, and I know I talked to a couple of you. At retreat, we talked about having a meeting on one of your off Mondays related to 2025. And so I would like to see if we could have a meeting on July 14th. And that meeting would be the final review of the 2025 plan. Nika is also moving forward with the I-35 plan to her committee this month, and we would like to do an overview of the I-35 plan for you. And we might have some discussion related to LEA. So there'd be 3 topics if you're available on July 14th.
Everybody should have been sitting like she said, and emailed that with an invitation.
Yep.
Do you know,
Yeah.
have you noticed everybody
I haven't had anybody say no.
Okay.
Good answer.
Has anybody said yes?
If you haven't replied, if you will reply to Julie so that she can know. You're just talking about the 14th at this time, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Starting at 5:30.
I'll put on there maybe. I'm not scheduled to be out of town, it's just,
But I mean,
Maybe late.
5:30 time, yeah. Okay.
it's gonna be tough to, if I leave at 5 o'clock, it's tough to get here by 5:30.
Right.
Nowadays, anyway.
You don't have like a special badge or something?
He was a bad conductor.
Chief, we'll bring it to you.
If we don't have a legal item prepared, it could be 6. Just a little, give me a little flexibility on that one.
Yeah.
You have the chief.
There's one thing, Mayor.
Get that taken care of. We'll get a convoy going.
Did you have anything else, Tom?
No, sir.
Okay. Council members, I got, and Mayor, it's a booklet from the Regional Transportation Council. I'll be handing these out, this one takes from me. It's a lot of, just the overall overview of what's going on in the regional transportation. And so, just something, if you want to kill some time, you can read it and get some worthless facts in some cases. But sometimes it is nice to review what's been going on in the region on transportation and billions of dollars worth of construction that's going on right now. And a lot of it's right here in our own backyard.
And they were broke 2 years ago.
It's amazing how, it's amazing what toll roads do. So,
So you say that is from you, so I'm gonna take me just like this typed up, that you did that presentation?
Well, I did the drawings mainly.
Color
These are
structure's
from
very
kids, school
nice.
kids in Arlington. They've started doing that from a community in the region.
Anybody got anything else? Okay, we're adjourned.
There you go.
We do have a quorum. We'll call the city council meeting to order. First item on the agenda is the invocation led by Councilman Durham, and then the pledge to both American and Texas flag led by myself.
Yes. Would you join me in a moment of silence? Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor to the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Thank you.
I'm getting there.
We have a special proclamation that we want to present tonight, and if I could ask Hillary DeBowen to come up with me, please, at this time. And I believe you have several of your fellow team members here with you tonight, don't you?
I do.
I would like to ask them if they would all please come and join us also, so they could get the proper recognition.
Oh, full audience.
Because I got a feeling you don't do this all by yourself.
Correct.
Hope I'm not embarrassing anybody. I just want everybody to see all the hardworking team members that we have. And Bob, if I could ask you to come up and join us too, please, sir, just so that everybody kind of likes to see their peer with them up here. So, just for information purposes, this is our Park and Recreation team members. I'm not sure everyone's here, but this is a good portion of our Park and Rec team members. And if you're not real familiar with our Park and Recreation Department here in Louisville, it's one of the finest in the southern part of the United States. We get accolades and awards year-round based on the activities and the things that we do with our park and recreation. I can remember when we built Toyota Louisville Railroad Street Park, I had mayors from all over the different parts of the Metroplex asking, how did we get that pulled off? How did we create such a thing? I can remember when we opened it up, Bob, how several of them showed up and came out there and just were amazed about the park that we had out there. And it began many, many years ago, and many of these people were here. Bob was here, I think, when we had our first park. The rest of them aren't nearly as old as Bob. But we want to thank all of you for what you do and all those that you work with each and every day. And with that, I want to give you this proclamation. Then I'm going to ask you to say a few words. Would that be all right?
Yes,
and
sir.
if you'd like to, you can introduce all your teammates.
Fantastic.
Okay. Whereas park and recreation programs are an integral part of communities throughout this county, including Louisville, Texas, and whereas our park and recreations are vitally important to establish and maintaining the quality of life in our communities, ensuring the health of all citizens, and contributing to the economic and environmental well-being of a community and a region. And whereas parks and recreations programs build healthy, active communities that aid in the prevention of chronic disease, provide therapeutic recreation services for those who are mentally and physically disabled, and also improve the mental and emotional health of all citizens. And whereas park and recreation programs increase the community's economic prosperity through increased property values, expansion of a local tax base, increased tourism, the attraction of and retention of businesses, and crime reduction. And whereas park and recreation areas are fundamental to the environmental well-being of our community. And whereas park and natural recreation areas improve water quality, protect groundwater, prevent flooding, improve the quality of the air we breathe, provide vegetative buffers to development, and produce habitat for wildlife. And whereas our park and natural recreation areas ensure the ecological beauty of our community and provide a place for children and adults to connect with nature and recreate outdoors. Whereas United States House of Representatives has designated July as Parks and Recreation Month, And whereas the City of Louisville recognizes the benefits derived from parks and recreation resources, now therefore I, Dean Euchert, Mayor of the City of Louisville, Texas, on behalf of the Louisville City Council and all of our citizens, do hereby proclaim the month of July as Park and Recreation Month in the City of Louisville and encourage all of our citizens to celebrate by participating in their choice of pleasurable recreation, park, and leisure services activities with their families, friends, and neighbors. Proclaim the 16th day of June 2014. Let's give all of them a big round of applause.
First of all, we'd like to thank you for all of your continued support. It means so much to us when we see you out at our events and we hear great things coming back from you. I'm going to give these to you, Mayor. These are our upcoming events, an entire month of July. Every single day we have a different something program, so you get a preview of what is to come. We have some new exciting programs. Our summer is in full swing. We have swim lessons, summer camps. Our newest program, Ducky Derby. We have a mother-son swim Buccaneer Bash. Lots of great events, so definitely come out and see us. And this is the marvelous staff that helps make all of this happen. We have Fallon, we have Cassie, Teresa, Monica, Tori, Carrie, Ramiro in the back, Lindsay, Samantha's hiding, Darren, and as most of you know, Bob Monahan. So we appreciate everything that you do for us. We just get so very excited about what we do, and we hope to share that excitement in the coming years.
Well, once again, I want to say thank you to all of you. And what's so amazing about this is how they coordinate with all the other team members on our team here in the City of Louisville. I know you can talk to economic development, you can talk to our hotels here. They provide us with a lot of hotel rooms each year. I don't remember how many thousands, several thousand hotel rooms from all the different tournaments and things that we hold in our parks and the different activities. So we thank you on behalf of all our citizens for all that you do. Everybody squeeze it here like that. Once again, thank y'all so much. We appreciate it. Appreciate all of you. Thank you for joining me up there, Bob. I know how proud you are of all your team members, and I just want to make sure that they know you're there with them, that you're proud of them also. Next item on the agenda is Visitors and Citizens Forum. At this time, any person with business before the council not scheduled on the agenda may speak to the council. No formal action can be taken on these items at this meeting. I did not have any cards filled out or anyone asked to speak. Next item is the consent agenda. All the following items of the consent agenda are considered to be self-explanatory by the council and will be enacted with one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member or a citizen so requests. For a citizen to request removal of an item, a speaker card must be filled out and submitted to the city secretary. Did not have any cards filled out. No one asked to have anything pulled from the consent agenda. Councilman Durham?
Mayor, move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Have a motion by Councilman Durham to approve the consent agenda, second by Councilman Ferguson. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 8 is consideration of a variance of the Louisville City Code, Chapter 17, Section 17-30, sale of alcoholic beverages as requested by Linda M. Simbron, CVS Pharmacy, located at 1099 West Main Street, Louisville, Texas. This item has been requested to be removed by the applicant, so there will be no action taken on this item. Next item is number 9, It's a second reading, consideration of an ordinance granting a special use permit request for an auto auction facility on 41.059 acres zoned light industrial located at 1836 Midway Road, further identified as Metro Auto Auction Dallas Edition, Lot 1R, Block A, as requested by Buckeye 59, the property owner.
Mayor, I will be abstaining. I own a business inside the auto auction.
Okay. At the June 3rd, 2014 City Council meeting, the City Council approved the subject ordinance. However, due to the lack of a 4/5 vote by the council to adopt the ordinance on an emergency basis, the ordinance has to be read on 3 separate days to meet the city charter requirements. This will be the second reading. Counselor?
Hello?
That's working.
This is an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Louisville, Texas, amending the zoning ordinance of the City of Louisville, Texas by granting a special use permit for an auto auction facility located on Lot 1R, Block A of Metro Auto Auction Dallas Edition, containing approximately 41.059 acres, providing for severability, providing a penalty, providing a repealer, and providing an effective date.
I'm sorry, we don't need to vote on that. Thank you, Counselor. Item 10 is consideration of a resolution nominating one member to the Board of Managers of the Denko Area 911 District. Harlan Jefferson, Prosper Town Manager, currently represents area municipalities on the Denko 911 Area District Board of Managers. Mr. Jefferson's term expires on September 30th, 2014, and the district has requested that each participating submit their nomination for a candidate to represent their municipality by July 15, 2014. Mr. Jefferson has advised that he does not wish to serve another term. Recommendation is that City Council approve the resolution nominating one member to the Board of Managers of the Denko Area 911 District. Staff reminded us in workshop session that the city does currently have a member on this board, and one of our assistant fire chiefs, and his term is not up, so unless someone has someone they wanted to nominate. Entertain a motion, Councilman Tierney.
Move to approve.
Motion to approve is presented.
Second.
Second by Councilman Durham. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Yes.
Sorry, I thought we were not.
I thought we were just approving the nominations they already had.
No, we'll receive those nominations sometime in September, and then you guys will vote on those nominations received. But if we don't have anyone to nominate, we don't have to take any action.
You don't have to approve the existing nominations?
Sure.
I misunderstood. Apologize for that. So how do we undo that?
Withdraw the motion.
We already took a vote.
I didn't vote.
No, but 3 of them did.
Since we don't follow Robert's rules, you can just withdraw the motion since the final vote wasn't taken since Mr.
Withdraw the motion.
Ferguson.
Withdraw the second.
Have the motion and second has been withdrawn. Thank you. Item 11, and the reason I did that was because that was a recommendation of staff to give to council. Consideration of a resolution nominating an alternate representative to the North Central Texas Council of Governments Regional Transportation Council. The Regional Transportation Council of the North Central Texas Council of Governments allocates seats on the council by region and city population. Recent changes in the bylaws created new cluster seats. Louisville is now in a region along with Highland Village and Flower Mound. The current representative to the Regional Transportation Committee is Councilman Durham. At the May 5th, 2014 City Council meeting, Mayor Patrick Davis, the mayor of Highland Village, was nominated to serve as the alternate for the group. Due to Mayor Davis's recent resignation, a new member will need to be nominated. City staff has contacted the City of Highland Village, and they have recommended that we nominate Mayor Charlotte Wilcox be nominated for the alternate position. Recommendation: the City Council consider a resolution nominating an alternate representative to the North Central Texas Council of Governments Regional Transportation Council. Councilman Tierney.
Mayor, move to recommend Charlotte Wilcox to fill that position.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Tierney, a second by Councilman Gilmore. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 12 is discussion and consideration of appointments to various city boards, commission, and committees. On June 30th, various terms of office on the city boards, commissions, and committees will be expiring. Those positions have been identified and current appointees notified. The board, commission, committee appointee process, electronic notebooks, has been created for council review. Data sheets for members requesting reappointment and all new applicants have been included in the book. At the June 3rd, 2014 City Council meeting, the following interview teams were set up to meet. Mayor Euchert and Mayor Pro Tem Gilmore, Deputy Mayor Pro Tem Ferguson and Councilman Vaughn, and Councilman Durham and Councilman Tierney. Recommendation is that City Council proceed with the appointment process to the various boards, commission, and committees. Councilman Gilmore.
Mayor, I move that we reappoint all current appointees who have requested reappointment. And in addition, that we appoint the following folks to the following places and boards. Ms. Ethel Strother to the Animal Services Advisory Committee, place number 4. Mr. Robert Troyer to Park Board, place number 4. Mr. Philip Huffines to the Tax Increment Reinvestment Zone number 2, place number 2. Mr. Lee McClinton, Louisville Housing Finance Corporation, place 2. Ms. Andrea Fowler, Old Town Design Review Committee, place number 4. Mr. Roy Wegman, Zoning Board of Adjustment, alternate, place number 2. For Library Board, place 2, Jennifer Lind. Library Board, place 4, Ms. Jean Ferguson. Library Board, place 6, Ms. Rosario Clyer. Planning and Zoning Commission, place number 1, Mr. Sean Kirk. And the following 5 people to the Charter Review Commission: former Mayor Gene Carey, Mr. Ken Judkins, Mr. Steve Southwell, Mr. Lathan Watts, and Ms. Karen Boniker. I always miss her name.
That's
My
right. It's
apologies.
Bunker, but that's okay. We have a motion.
Second.
A second by Councilman Durham. And I want to thank council for working together as teams and going out and visiting with these and looking at all the different resumes from all the different people and making these recommendations. I want to thank everyone that applied for the different boards and commissions and let you know that if for some reason you were not chosen at this time, it's not because we didn't think you were qualified or didn't want you. It's just we had a lot of applicants and only a few spots to fill, as you can see. So as throughout the year, we have several different positions that come open through attrition, whether somebody's moving or job situation or something like that. So please feel free to stay tuned, and we will be getting back with you through the year, end of the year. And the City Secretary's office will be contacting everyone and letting them know of the appointments. So thank you all very much. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, that brings us down to reports. I think, Bob. Okay, Chief, it's your time to gloat a little, I guess.
Well, Mayor, since you brought it up,
So humble.
report on this year's outcome of the annual Battle of the Badge, and this year the fire department was able to win back not only the trophy but the bragging rights for this year. But in the interest of fair play, I would like to also make you aware that the final score of the game was 11-10. So as you can see, it was a very competitive game, a lot of fun. And I would also like to say that I believe the LCP AAA and Mr. Restore and all those that were responsible for putting on the event this year were successful in helping raise dollars for our Child Advocacy Center in Denton County. So it was another good year.
Well, great. I'm sorry I couldn't be there this year. It's one of the first ones I've ever missed. So, but I know it's always a great time. We appreciate everybody getting out and participated on both sides. Melinda? Chief Kerbo, I understand that y'all had it nipped in the bud there. Y'all had it up to the very last half inning. Is that right?
Yep.
Yes, sir. Unfortunately, we dropped our guard that last inning and allowed them to get back in it. But hats off to the fire department for good sportsmanship and good play. And we're just glad to help raise some money for the Child Advocacy Center. And also special thanks to Councilman Ferguson, who was kind enough to throw out our first pitch this year.
Great. You didn't hurt the clowns, did you?
No.
Okay.
I missed them.
All right. Well, thank all of them, if you will. Thank both of them, both parties for coming out and doing that and participating in that and helping raise funds for that, for Children's Advocacy Center. Carol, how are you doing, ma'am?
No, sir.
Nothing to report.
Nothing to report.
The lake seems to keep going down. I've been watching the lake level every day, and it started going down. Now it's starting to inch back up.
Yeah, I think the barges that they're using to build the bridge, they can probably just walk across. They probably don't need the barges.
Not gonna need the barges, huh? Oh, gee. Gina,
No, sir.
anything from the, what'd you do with Brenda? Did you run her out? Is she at that house in the Bahamas?
No.
Can't say, but she's not here.
Good answer.
Well, thank you very much. We appreciate you being here tonight. Mr. Ferris?
No, sir.
Mr. Backus? Councilman Durham?
Nothing, Mayor.
Councilman Tierney?
No, sir.
Councilman Gilmore?
Mayor, I'd like to just remind everybody that the summer reading program has started at the library. That is an awesome program, and it is a great way to get your kids reading. And by that, I mean adults. You need to be involved as well. It is a good time, and we've got all sorts of prizes and awards for reading for both preschoolers, elementary, middle school, and adults. There's also great preschool, elementary, and teen programs throughout the summer, so if you're looking for a place to shunt your kids that's educational and engaging, I would say go to the library. And that's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Barron?
No, sir.
Well, one question I have for you is, at the last meeting, you told me Park Plaza across the street, August, I believe it was 14th. Are we still on track for that?
We are on track, Mayor.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Just so everybody know, we've had some problems, but we appreciate your patience. We're looking forward to it just as much as you are. Councilman Ferguson.
Yes, Mayor. Before I get to the MCL grant, I want to emphasize to everybody, take a look at the calendar online for Parks and Rec. There's something every day. Some days there's even 2 things going on. A couple of them I want to point out, the Teddy Bear Picnic, which is July 10th. You bring your favorite bear, and then you bring another one that's brand new, and the new one goes to Petey Place. So it'll be a fun event, and that takes place at Railroad Park. And then the Ducky Derby, it wasn't mentioned, but you have to have your duck purchased and decorated. Well, you have to have it purchased by July 3rd, and you have to have it decorated and turned in, I think, by July 9th. Am I right? Is that right? So get your duck and get it decorated and get in the Derby and have fun with that. The actual event is on Saturday, July 12th. So on to the MCL Grand. We've got the Sounds of Louisville concert started up on Tuesday evenings, June and July, in the MCL Grand Courtyard, presented by the City of Louisville. The 17th is the Vegas Stars, and the 24th is the Chicago Tribute Authority of Texas. So you can kind of guess what that will be. And then July 5th is the last of the Texas Tune concerts. That'll be in the auditorium indoors at MCL Grand. Anson Funderburg comes back to the stage. He helped inaugurate the place back on January 20th, a few years back. So he'll be coming back. And then other events, Chamber Night Out, June 19th with the Chamber of Commerce. Eric Smith Songwriting Challenge, June 20th, presented by Visual Arts League. That's a very interesting thing to go to. If you have an inclination to write music, you ought to go there. Best Little Brew Fest in Texas. I'm real excited to see this come June 21st, presented by Cloud9 Charities. Money goes to very worthy causes, and we're looking forward to that. And then Taste of Denton County Benefit Gala on June 28th, presented by Youth and Family Counseling. And then finally, with art exhibits, we've got Color and Light by 2013 Fresh Ideas winner Irma Murray, Abstract Photography by Visual Arts League in the gallery, and Stars and Stripes by Visual Arts League in the North Corridor Gallery. And the gallery is always open from Tuesday through Saturday, 1 to 5 p.m., and also during any public performance. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Counselor? Julie? Officer, once again, we appreciate you being here again this week. We missed you last week. Counselor said she wasn't sure you missed us, but I feel you did. I know how much you enjoy being here. We do appreciate what you do each and every day, and all your fellow team members that work with you. Thank you, sir. And I just want to remind everybody that while school is just let out, remember that summer school is starting up, and we still have school zones in certain areas of the city for summer school. So be sure you pay attention and be aware of that, and be careful during the school zones. In accordance with Texas Government Code Subchapter D, Section 551.072, property acquisition, and Section 551.087, deliberation regarding economic development negotiations will now convene into closed session. We'll convene back in regular session. Is there any action to be taken, council?
Move to adjourn.
Second?
Motion to adjourn by Councilman Ferguson, second by Councilman Gilmore. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We'll convene back in regular session. Is there any action to be taken, council?
Move to adjourn.
Second?
Motion to adjourn by Councilman Ferguson, second by Councilman Gilmore. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.